Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US tech stocks, and starting with Apple. And Apple's been sold off. I think, I haven't checked the news just yet, but I think it's got something to do with their new headphone, virtual reality headphone. So I haven't checked the news on that, but obviously there is some sort of news event on that. But just on the weekly chart here, if you've got a little bit of an eye for Elliott, then you'll see that we've got wave 1 and 2 here. There's no mistake about that. But we're still missing wave 4 here. There's nothing that's actually sort of cracked this trend line here, and wave 4 tends to break the trend. And that's even assuming if we put this wave 3 in here and this wave 4 here, which I also don't think is the case as well. I think that we need to go further up here for for this market. So as I would have mentioned, that we are approaching the old high here, so it's also natural in a psychological way to be sold off there, you know that much. And there's a news event that fits that. I think the news event was probably a good news event, really. New product. I don't know about the pricing and all of those sorts of idiosyncrasies, but what we're seeing here is natural, and I see it as a more of a buying opportunity than a selling opportunity, but that would depend on what type and how, of trader you are, how long you hold things, and so on. But always at an old high, most folks will be taking some sort of profit there anyway. So we'll see more of that. We'll go in and have a look at that. Now, this count here, as I've always said, is very simple. It's 1 and 2. It's very clear. This move to the upside here, that can be counted in a few different ways. So I've got a few different counts for it. It doesn't really matter. We're still basically getting impulse waves to the upside and corrective waves to the downside. So let's go in. I think we had a bit of a look at this yesterday in a couple of different ways here. So I've still got it going further up here. I would have also mentioned as well the 180. Now, to me, wherever you see number 8, I see that as profit taking. And well, we've seen it over here, didn't we? You'll see with any stock, it could be 8 cents, it could be 18 cents, it could be 80 cents, $8, 8,000, whatever. It just seems to be a place people think of that more so than 9 or 7 or something of that nature. So anyway, this here appears to be in 5 waves. We will check it out, but we can expect something like this before seeing further upside in the market. Now, like I said, there's different ways to count this. One of the main points we were looking for was the length of wave. Well, we want the length of wave 3 here, up here, to be longer than wave 1. Now, in terms of time, this is actually spent more time in this particular trend. But in terms of height, it's only really just taking it out. I think it's about here somewhere. So it's not that much longer when you consider the height of it. But anyway, we'll move in, and we can, like I said, this may not be the correct count for the 3rd wave here. Okay, it might be possible to, at this point, to put wave 3 here. That's I did have a count for that. I've got a count that extends it up much further as well. So as long as we continue to see impulse waves to the upside and corrective waves to the downside, then we'll continue to stay in this trend. And while this trend hasn't been breached, then we can also stay on that side of it. We would need, this here is obviously 5 waves coming down, and we'll have a correction, have another 5. But to turn bearish in a bigger picture, we would need to see a larger impulse wave here for this. That's the, but even then, that would just, if I got that 5 waves here, then I would just put wave 3 over here, and we'll look for a larger ABC pattern to come into play. Okay, so that's what we'll be looking for here. We'll go to the intraday now, the 20 ticks, and there's this is a very conservative way to, we talked about this one here, this is a very conservative way to count this. Now, the reason that I don't think this is the count by putting the big wave 3 up here, and of course I can be wrong just the same as anybody else, but My reasoning is that I can clearly see from this point here, we've got 1 and 2, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for third, fourth, fifth. So we've got this long wave structure here. So really, it's okay to have an extension in the fifth wave, in this orange fifth wave minor degree here. It's okay to have that. But normally we would be looking at wave 3 to have that here. So in a way, we need to extend this higher here, because this has been helpful, but it's not practical anymore. It's not fitting. So we need to, move with the market. So there's different ways to view this. We can extend it way up there. We can go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and continue to move up in a massive move to the upside. Now, is that possible? Sure, it's possible. But like I said, it doesn't really matter at this point, as long as we're making money and we're moving to the upside. But we need to have practical count. So coming back to this particular count here, this is the this is the most minimalist count that I can have here. And this can produce an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave coming back here somewhere, and then probably moving up. Probably not enough to really take us outside the bounds of being a larger wave 4 in that case, So let's just cruise into this one here. So this is a little bit, this is actually a small, but we haven't got to this third wave up here yet in this view here. This is still a smaller scenario happening here. So we can put this wave 4 here. We can put, for the time being, at least anyway, we've got to gather information, and we need to be, thoughtful and practical about it. We don't want to be emotional about it. We don't have, there'll be 5 waves in here. We'll check on that. But, if there is 5 here, then we'll get another 5 over here. As simple as that. And then we can look for this blue wave 4 to come back to this previous wave 4 over here. So a much smaller situation occurring at this point. Okay, so no need to do anything at this particular point. But look, it just depends on what you're doing. This is all in minor group 2. So at 80, I would expect this here, at this number. That's what I would expect at 80. This is 65, 72, and 80. This is all of minor group 2. So we'll end up pushing up to the 200. So that's where that is. We'll just go into this a little bit further just to investigate this point here. So we can see here that, excuse me, we can see here that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC for the fourth, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to get some type of, we can label this. Let's just, that's our opinion, that's our labeling. We'll put this as wave A here, and wave B will come back in 3 waves, as you know, and then we'll see wave C come down here for this. Is it possible to look at, there's 5 waves in here, there's 5 waves in here. I don't know, I'd have to investigate that a little bit further. This one is a little bit trickier, but obviously with the ABC here. So I think this is pretty much, this is good to go, so to speak. If you're short and you're trapped in, you're long and you're trapped in here, then we'll probably come back to this old high here, cover that gap or something of that nature. But this will be the 50-60% at that point. So that's where that is today, and we can look to copy that and put that there as a wave 4 until proven otherwise. Oops, I already had it here, not to worry, it's all good, don't need that now. That can go over there. Things go bump in the night. Okay, so that's the Apple core of the markets. So with Amazon here, when we're speaking yesterday, this is on 100 ticks here, so we're quite close to the intraday. We were looking for a move back into this box here, and we also talked about the stop loss at the 122 here, but on on spike only. So if it spiked down through it to 1.5, then we would place the stop under there as the retest, you know. So that's still the same. But otherwise, we can look at this as wave 1 here. And well, from here, this blue wave 4, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 moving up there higher for this. I suppose it's possible to look at this wave 4 here and look at this as 1 and 2 here, and 3 here, and 4 here, and 5 here, and have a top in play. That's possible, but I don't really have the best 5 waves down here just yet for this, but that's where our stop is going to be. If the 122 becomes the retested resistance, then we need to say adios at that particular point. But otherwise, the trend to the upside, don't need to look at the bigger picture, is all good. With NVIDIA here, as we've mentioned, we'll come back to the 100 ticks here for a moment. 200. I don't know. Let me just go. We haven't looked at the bigger picture this week, but it's only Monday. So basically, you know, this is it. It's taken out the high. It's one of the strongest markets. Obviously, you know, it's showing the strongest part here. You know, the AI is going a bit nutty out there with all of this stuff. So yeah, this is, you know, this is the count that we've been working with, and we're not at wave 3 yet here. So we're looking for a classic trading level pattern at that particular level across here. So with that in mind, we're in the first phase of from wave 2 here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get to the third wave, then the fourth, and then the fifth. So it's going to be a bit of a journey across here, I have to say, but you know, the move is still to the upside around around the 500. So we'll just cruise to the intraday to have a look at these. I can't remember what I've updated and what I haven't. That's 20k. What about 5k? Okay, we were here. Let me just clean this up while we're here. We're kind of we never really get the same sort of pattern, but we get close to it. So I just don't think that's it either here. Let me just go into this. Yeah, right. Okay, now we can put that there. Put that there and that there. Let me just go to 100 ticks. Sorry, I'm just updating my own mind for this. So, okay, we are in that situation. Let me just. Okay, so I just want to go back, and we're going to put that wave 3 in on the 1000 ticks here. No, we're not going to do that. This is here. Okay, I got a little bit of work to do here. Doesn't really matter too much. We're not ready to trade this. You see how it's got, this is the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level. So, yeah, so I think that we may need to bring this over here. That's the thing for this. Otherwise, we can look at this as wave 1 to the upside. Let me go to 100 ticks now, just to get this here. So there's nothing happening while we're at this particular level. Now we did have a trade just in here, and what we're going to do with that is that we're going to put the stop just under here for that. We're not going to let it come down any further than it is at this point. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit too. So we've had this down here as wave 3 here with wave 4 here, and having wave 1 here. That's where we were yesterday, and we're looking for wave 2 yesterday. So I'm going to put the stop there. Now if that stop is breached, then we're going to have to look at this as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave down here. And then we'll pick it back up over here. Because I don't want that stop turned, I don't want this trade turned into a loss. I think we're pretty close to break even, but yeah, well, easier to protect a winning trade than a losing trade. And yeah, so we'll rinse and repeat here, but it's really nice sort of classic trading levels pattern here. I mean, of course we can go long above here. That's the normal thing. We would normally start from up here, then come down to here, but I want to see if we can get another position in here. Otherwise, the other point here too is that if the market, if it pushes up to here, it's going to have a little pattern like this here. So we'll be able to get a better position here. There's a better position in two ways. First of all, we can bring that down to this height, and then we can bring it down to the second height. But if you can identify 5 waves in this move here, then we can buy the pullback at that point as well, the 50-60%. So the aim would be to build in over this side over here, because if this is going to be wave 1 and 2 here, then we're going to be up here before we know it. This will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 450. Okay, so anyway, we'll pick it up tomorrow. Not a lot to do here at this point. Meta platforms. So yeah, so just picking up from here, it's a bit of a wonky old road, this one, but 1 and 2 here, and we're going up to the 300 as 3 here. So wave 2 to 3 here. We've got wave 1 and 2, which is pretty obvious. And then we've got this long snaking country road here as wave 3. So I think that we're pretty close to the top of that wave 3. It may not be the case, but it looks like this has got wave 1 here, beginning, a middle, and an end. I could probably put this over here as well. That would also fit as an A and a B and a C here for this. But the other point too is that we're in group 2 here. So as I would have mentioned, that what will happen in the bigger picture here is that the market will come up here, it will react, it will have its little foray in here, and then push up to here, come back, check that support here, then push up here, then have some sort of ABC pattern testing all of this support. So this top, all of this support, whatever happens in this space here, that's going to be part of that support later on over here for this, you know. So it'll be something like this here. There'll be some pattern across here. All you need to work out is that, are you going to be holding for that? Because if you're going to be holding for that, you'll need to leave the stop well out of the way at that particular point. Okay, we've talked about this before, about levels and so on. So otherwise you just take the money, you know, some at the 72, some at the 80, and the rest at 300, and wait for the next setup. But the trend is not completed to the upside. Moving over to Netflix here, let's just go back to the beginning. So this low over here that we've got is wave 4, we've got 1 and 2, and then we're working up here for wave 3, and we don't have wave 4 yet. So we know that the trend, obviously wave 2 is, you know, has left this trend, but all of this is the same family. And I don't think it's finished yet, but we're at 400, which is a medium level. And as I mentioned before, that we're going to see a dance across here. And yeah, it's just not finished. That's all. So we'll see this. We're looking for the A wave, the B wave, the C wave here somewhere. And then we'll see this up to here. And then we'll see another move in here, and then a move up at that point. So like, it's just, you know, that's why we either took profit or took a percentage at this point. We've got positions back here. So we just need to be chilled about this situation. You know, it's just a time capsule that we're in at this point, because that's what it'll be. It'll be spending more time at this level. If I've made a mistake, then if we get a support on 430, the top of group 1 of the 400, because this is the swing range for the market at this particular price point. But if this 430 becomes a tested support, we'll need to add to long positions at that point. Otherwise, we're just going to watch this mature, and we'll try to pick positions back up down here on those. Okay, so it was nice to see Google finally sort of kick along a little bit. We've got a few positions down here and so on, and here and that, and we've been adding in here a bit as well. So yeah, look, we had this as wave 3 and 4 here, then 1 and 2, and I've labeled this 1 and 2. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for a third wave. Some sort of fourth wave happening here. I haven't investigated that, but there'll be something. Always a bit of a struggle at the old high, you know, making new ground, the youth and the elderly. So, but this is still needs to go to the upside here as well. 130 is very important because it's the top of group 1 of 100. It seems like a long way from here, and it kind of is, but on a daily chart it's not that big. But getting support here stops it being severs the pull from getting from the 100 here, and then what will happen, it will go to the next level, which will be the 150 up here. And I have to say, markets move quite quickly between 3 and 5 in both directions. Okay, so we don't really want to miss that. We'll see what this is at the 130. There'll be some classic trading levels pattern at that 130. There'll be something like that that we'll need to navigate and use it to build onto as a setup. So yeah, we don't need to take any profit at that point. So I'm not going to move this stop until the 130 becomes the support. If you want to get close to it, you can go into here if you like, but I just want to make sure that that we don't get taken out by this wave 3 here back to this other wave 3 to wave 4 here. So all of this here will become the support for this for this other move back, you know, just quite simply be something like this, check and support, and then moving off here. So I don't want to get tripped out just here and then take off, you know. We've all been there, and it still happens. We still make silly little mistakes. We'll try not to. So that's Google. So that was nice to see it push up. Microsoft here. So yeah, a little bit like Apple in a way. There's probably different ways to resolve this here. We could have this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. That's another way to resolve this situation in here. But whichever way you look at it, you can see that these are the 1s and 2s in the building block of it all. And, you know, we're moving along here now. So this, you know, this is another AI stock, you know. So is there an AI EFT yet? Yeah, so this should just continue to cruise along. And next step, as I mentioned yesterday, is the 330 here, the top of group 1. Once that becomes support, it'll be sucked up to the 5. There'll be a correction at that point, and then it will be pushed up into group 2, 365, 372 and 380. So nothing wrong with this trend, looking very nice. And sure, there's probably different ways to count all of this as well. I'm not sure what intraday charts I've updated, but I'm going to go to this 1000 here. And look, I suppose it's possible to put, this particular count that I've got here is a very minimal count. Okay, so it's a little bit different than one we just looked at, but that's okay. I suppose at worst case scenario, we could put that wave 5 there, but it's just not telling me the right thing at the moment. I mean, in terms of putting that there, because this, if we look at this here, pick it up from this wave 4 here, we'll need to go to 100 ticks. So that's that blue wave 4 here we just looked at. So here it's quite clear it's 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, the fourth, and fifth. So it really looks like 1 and 2 here. And then this here looks like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So it shouldn't come back below that. If it comes back, well, you know, that's the 61.8%. So we can take it to the 3s here. Normally I'd use 2 if 2 became the retested resistance using group 1 here. I mean, this is a minor group 1 here, and these are subgroup 1s here. So anyway, yeah, so I could probably just push straight up from here in wave 3 at this point. Don't see why not. But yeah, I don't see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can we use it as a top as 1 and 2? 1 and 2, that means I'd need to look at all of that as the third wave. That's not going to work. So I think I've got the right count here, you know. It can pull back to this level here, it doesn't have to. It's kind of finding support within group 2 here. Between 30 and 40, there'll be 1, 2, 3, which is group 1, 5 is the midpoint, and then 36.50, 37.20, and 38 is all part of group 2. So it does appear that it's kind of in group 2, and normally when it gets support in here, 3.650, 3.50, no, it's testing support in there. It's testing, isn't it? It's made new highs and it's testing. If it can hold that support there, if it can't hold that support, then it'll pull back at that point. But otherwise, it's all good. I probably should go and have a look at that, but not to worry. The trend is still up. So, and Tesla. So Tesla, we can look at this in 2 ways. Well, a few different ways. First of all, we can have it as wave 1 and 2 here, and then going up for, taking this top out basically, like the NVIDIAs and the rest of them, these ones will catch up. So Tesla's to me is a good buy at this point, because NVIDIA's taken the top out here, Apple's up here. So this to me is a good buy. So it's possible to have it as an A wave and a B wave and a C wave and come up to, because I don't like to stick my head in the sand, but sometimes with Elliott you kind of get a little bit of a bias to so this is the 50-60%. So if it was going to fail, that's where it's going to fail from. Okay, it'll fail from the between 250 and 300 there. There's 2 ways to count it up. We can count it up as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 and continuing to build to the other side. But you can see how it's picking up speed here. So this is probably the right count, and we talked about this yesterday. The other one is looking at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then 5 up here, which I don't think is the case. So I think we need to eliminate this one. We're not going to have that pullback there. And let's cruise in here. So this is another way to look at it. Yeah, that's that particular way, which is not going to be the case. So we don't need to worry about that. And I'll leave that there. So let me just have a look at, I had a few other, that's the same count. We don't want that. We want this one here. This is one we want. So from this wave 2 here, we've got 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, because it's just picking up speed. So we'll see this go 3, 4, and 5 up here, some sort of ABC. This is the top of group 1 here, 10, 20, and 30, the routine. And then up to here, and then another classic trading levels pattern across here as such, and then up again at that point. That's the pattern that will be, that's the pattern, that's how it will play out. That's all basic stuff. You can join the dots however you want. That 3 could also be up there as well. We'll see how that goes, but I think that's about it at this point. I'll just go in further and just check on a few things. Okay, we don't have that 5th wave there just yet on this chart, but that's 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1, 2. So this one's a little bit different. I kind of like this one. It makes a bit more sort of sense in a way. Still need to take that up higher though, don't I? I could do that to that and then have that. I've got to fit that classic trading levels pattern in at 330 above and below and then up. So all you need to do if you're, if you are long across here, then just stay long. It's not a biggie. I just want to check the 100 ticks here as well. Just want to dive in a bit closer. I just want to have a look at what I've done and what I haven't done and so on. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. That's all good. That's a bit weird. Haven't got quite, that hasn't quite finished off. What's that there? I suppose I could get that there as 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's a bit weird. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. It's just a little bit weird. Maybe we're not finished this correction yet. I mean, it's definitely corrective. We've got overlapping wave structures here, so I'm on the right track. It's just that it could probably, there's a possibility that it could pull back at this point back to here. Okay, so just be a little bit aware of that. Okay, but it is working with this number, so the 2 here, so the arrival, the reaction. So we should be sort of pushing up here. But it'll be like, that probably won't be that high there either. That will bring down to the top of group 1 of the 220, so 223 tops there, taking out the high. That's what markets do, they take out highs and roll back over, don't they? So yeah, we could be in for something like this. That could actually come back a bit further. Anyway, yeah, it should stay above the 213, which is group 1 of this next set of numbers here. So oh yeah, that's right on the money there too, so that's good. I know when I talk about the trading levels, it's a little bit weird, but once the penny drops, you'll be happy about that. Once you understand them, then they become part of the canvas when you look at things. I mean, most traders that are professional understand the price in their own way. I mean, people see things in different ways, don't we? We all learn in in 4 or 5 different ways. We take information in and we process it differently. We can come to the same answer in the end, but yeah, so anyway, that's it for those tech stocks. Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Cheers.